What's up guys, in today's video I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to set up the GHL for my other company. It's a landscaping company called Apex Landscaping. Me being an AI automation expert, it wouldn't make any sense for me to be running a business without using AI. And in today's video I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to set up the system. So the main system I'm going to be creating today is a automated inbound DM answer. So a key concept that you may have heard of. It's called speed to lead. There's a crazy number out there. It's like 300% more likely you're going to close a deal, aka get the sale, if you were to respond to a lead within the first minute. And from there, each minute, the percentage goes down. So automating that part, taking out the clutter and the unnecessary parts of running the business will just free up more time for me and my partner to be able to run our other businesses and make decisions that will push the business forward. And if this is something that you're interested in, you can feel free, go down below. We have a free AI revenue leak assessment PDF. You can go ahead and sign up for that, grab that, and if you'd like to move forward, then you can go ahead and work with us. But without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so when you first get an account, it's gonna look something like this, right? This is GHL's backend system. It may not look exactly like this just because I changed the logo here to our logo. It's gonna look a little bit different for everybody. This is generally what it's generally gonna look like. So I've already connected our Google Business profile. This just allows me in the future, if I want, to start being able to request Google reviews and do things of that nature, just to really leverage testimonials. Here I also already linked up our Facebook and Instagram. So any messages that happens on Facebook or Instagram will go ahead and pop up in our backend system Go High Level here, right? So that's the first initial step. I already did that one just so I didn't have to blur out any usernames or passwords. So the main module that we're going to be looking at today here is going to be under automations, right? And automations are really the lifeline of what makes GHL so special, right? It's these automations that do a lot of the heavy lifting around here. So today I already created a sample of what it would look like, but I'll go ahead and run through it with you guys one more time. So we're gonna go from here, right? If GHL would finish loading, right? So if you're here on the automations page, you're going to go over here to create workflow. You're going to press create workflow, and then you're going to either start from scratch or select recipe. For today's case, I already created a workflow. So I already created a workflow, and since the primary function of this workflow is to handle all DMs being entered through Instagram, I made a trigger. So in every workflow, it all starts with a trigger, right? A trigger and then actions. So in this workflow, the trigger is an Instagram DM, which is our primary goal again, right? Now, how my business works, someone will DM us on Instagram with one of these phrases, right? Usually it's what services do you provide or how much do you charge for your services, something along those lines. And just having them all here, right? That's gonna go ahead and let the Go High Level backend system know whether it is a high intent lead or if it's a low intent lead. So if it's a high intent lead, right, it's gonna go through here. I created a condition right here, right? So there's branches. So each branch is basically identifying what the current situation is with each potential client. So I just named it FAQ, but we could even call it high intent, right? And if they have high intent, they're gonna go here. If there's not really any intent, me or a business partner can go ahead and check them out later and answer any questions that are not regarding what we primarily sell, which is our service, right? So if it picks up that it's one of the many phrases here, usually I would put a few more, but just in today's case I didn't put as many, right? So once it figures out if it's a high intention lead, it's gonna ask Hafade, thank you for reaching out, what service are you interested in, right? And sometimes the client, sometimes the lead will already open up with what they want, So they'll ask how much is bush cutting and pressure washing, right? When it's something like that, then we'll handle it manually from there. But for the main part, this is how it's going to work. They're going to go ahead and get this message, right? I have a wait module here too, right? So what it does, it's going to hold the system from continuing its process, at least this workflow, right? It's going to hold the workflow, it's going to pause it, and the wait for category, right? Of course, we're going to have it to contact reply, right? It's going to go here, scroll down, contact reply, and then what we chose to make it reply is the Instagram DM, which is right here, right? And then you can also have a thing where if it times out, then, you know, it will have a separate branch where you could do follow-ups and things of that nature, but we'll save that for another day, because at least for our cases today, we don't need that, right? So after it figures out exactly what it needs, after it's done figuring out exactly what the client wants, whether it's bush cutting, pressure washing, junk removal, and I should have added tree trimming, which is another service we provide, right? But that just goes to show you always have to double check all the workflows that you create, make sure everything's taken care of, everything's in place, so that you don't have any future mishaps, what may have you, anything that messes up in the future. But here, let's see, they ask for bush cutting or lawn maintenance, right? Maintain, cut, grass. These are usually words that are said when the client wants a certain thing, right? So we have here pressure washing, pressure wash, water blasting, pressure washing, water blast, right? And you can add even more, right? And once it determines which branch it falls under, they're gonna go ahead and get an Instagram DM, right? So for this one, we have our lawn maintenance minimum starts about 100. Would you like to schedule a quote? And then from there, we can have an if else condition as well here that says if they don't want to have a in-person quote, then they could just go ahead and send a picture, or the possibilities are really endless. But in this instance, as long as it get to this level, then we're pretty happy, because the actual scheduling of the quotes, we're not currently working using Google Calendar or any other calendar service, but besides that, we just want to have the freedom and judgment ourselves for now, until we get to the level of using a calendar to book in all of our clients. Because as of right now, usually we just book them based upon sheets and other things like that, but we don't really use calendar as often as we probably should. Just for a real quick recap, right? Here's a trigger. Again, the trigger is the thing that it's in the name, triggers out the workflow. So it's an Instagram DM reply channel. Here we go into filters, reply channel, Instagram DM, and then after that it's gonna have a condition, right? An if else condition. So it's gonna figure out whether it's a high intent or there's no intent. So if there's a high intent, it's gonna go through, send them an Instagram DM. Hopefully, thank you for reaching out. What service are you interested, right? And then we're gonna have the workflow pause or wait, and then it's gonna go ahead and figure out, once the client replies, what exactly you want. And that's the main basis for this workflow. Another big tip is, again, to always save, because the workflows usually don't save themselves, so you want to save it. And that pretty much concludes for now, right? Another cool thing is, every time that someone will DM, they'll automatically be entered into our conversations tab, and for each conversation that you have, there's a contact created. So now that we have this list, this is a list that we could go ahead and target for reactivation or follow-ups, and even have other automations reminding them for their maintenance cuts, or any other revenue generating action that can be done through here. Again, it was a little shorter of a video today, but I just really wanted to provide you guys with as much value in as little time as possible, not to waste your guys' time. If you enjoyed this, and if there's any other questions you guys have, feel free to drop any questions you have in the comments, and subscribe for the next few videos that are going to be coming out, and catch you guys in the next one.